Advocate Dali Mpofu has concluded the cross-examination of an executive manager in the Office of the Public Protector, Cornelius van der Merwe. He questioned van der Merwe about his involvement in a proposal to amend the constitution to change the South African Reserve Bank's mandate. He was asked about whether he would also apologize for errors and the head cost when legal fees and names of lawyers were mentioned by evidence leader advocate Nazreen Bawa. Newzroom Afrika's Athi Mtongana joins us now live from Parliament for more. Athi, thank you for making time for us this afternoon. So it was the executive manager who was on the hot seat this afternoon. What transpired?
Thank you so much, Clement, and good afternoon. He has been on the hot seat for quite some time. You recall last week when those developments came of the legal fees and the legal costs to the Office of the Public Protector were flighted, in particular with the names of the legal practitioners that ended up appearing before the committee yesterday, when it took a different turn when Advocate Sikhakhane and Advocate Ngalwana appeared before the committee. Something very unlikely, and something that the MPs actually cautioned, saying that it should not happen because it sets a precedent. So whenever someone's name, for example, is mentioned in the committee, then this move then gives them the right to then come to the committee to try and correct whatever has been said in relation to their name, which is exactly what Advocate Sikhakhane and Advocate Ngalwana went to do yesterday, where we heard the evidence leader, Advocate Nazreen Bawa, subsequently apologizing. In fact, even before they registered their statement in the committee, she started out by putting on record that there were some errors that they made insofar as some of those fees that were displayed in last week's cross-examination, or at least the testimony of Mr. Cornelius van der Merwe. But before that, Clement, I want to remind you of what has just happened a few minutes ago with Advocate Dali Mpofu finally concluding the cross-examination of Mr. van der Merwe, and the last bits of the cross-examination really dealt with the issue of the CX matter there, where Advocate Dali Mpofu was posing questions around the research that he was asked to do around this proposal of, the constitution being amended in order to change the mandate of the Reserve Bank. And so what Mr. van der Merwe was putting on record, he was saying that all he was doing is conducting research, and not that the idea came directly from him. But then, of course, going back to that issue of the apology, Advocate Dali Mpofu also asked Mr. van der Merwe whether he, just like Advocate Nazreen Bawa, would apologize for some of the errors and the hurt that he says was caused not only by the senior counsel that came to the inquiry yesterday, but also by some junior members. I'd like us to listen to that exchange.
Are you prepared or not prepared to take your share of any blame of how they might feel, or to apologize insofar as they might be in such a position?
Pause, Advocate Bawa.
It's an unfair question to be asking the witness in the context of this motion and in the questions that was put to him that he answered. And I object to the question being asked and the witness being expected to answer that question.
Are you invoking irrelevance?
It is relevance. It's untoward to seek to lay blame at the witness's door for this, and for him to now have to under oath accept or reject blame for what the committee has sought and asked of him to do.
Okay, thank you, Advocate Bawa. And I'm going back to Advocate Mpofu.
Thank you, Chair. Just to address
and I will be watching the response of the witness on those. Advocate Bawa?
I'm not Advocate Bawa.
Advocate Dali Mpofu?
Yes, thank you.
Well, just to speak to some of the issues that are upcoming that do affect the work of the Section 194 Committee, on the 24th, they'll be heading to the Constitutional Court in the matter versus the President, the Democratic Alliance and the Public Protector, and that will be dealing with the suspension of the President. That's, of course, at the back of the Democratic Alliance applying for direct leave at the Constitutional Court, at the back of the decision of the Western Cape High Court to invalidate the suspension of the Public Protector. Some of those issues they spoke about, which Advocate Dali Mpofu was asking Mr. Cornelius about whether the Office of the Public Protector will be funding those court proceedings, and he confirmed that they won't be actually paying for those legal fees coming into next week at the Constitutional Court.
Athi Mtongana live to us from Parliament. Thank you.